Hi there, my name's Craig Sharp from Abussi, Midlands IT services provider. In this video, and I have done others, links are provided below, I want to briefly talk about issues around security. One of the things that we do for our clients during normal operations is we provide a perimeter of security in their network, and all of the traffic that comes in and out of their business flows through a device which monitors for spam messages, stops people accessing sites they shouldn't access, restricts access to sites which could be illegitimate and places where security risks could exist. You get the idea. We are providing in traditional times a wide variety of services around security. We also work with clients so that we put into place in Windows 10 setups what are called PIN numbers. So we don't give the users their actual Office 365 passwords. What we do is we pre-configure their computers so that when they log in, they use a PIN number, which gives access to the computer, but the PIN number is not the same as their Microsoft Office password. That means if someone asks them to provide their Office 365 password, and this would be someone looking to perhaps scam them or for an illegitimate reason, then their PIN number is not their password, and therefore they can't be compromised because they're not giving the right bit of information. One of the things which causes concern at this time is because people have had to disperse to home environments, because they're perhaps using equipment they don't normally use, perhaps they've been given their Office 365 password for the first time properly so that they can log in through a web portal or something like that. Issues around security are troubling. Now, there is no simple answer to this, but here are two things that I talk to clients about all of the time and which are worth reinforcing in a video like this. Number one, unfortunately, and we have tried, there is no magic silver bullet that will resolve all security challenges, because if there were, we would have deployed it by now. We would have deployed it years ago. There is no way that we can stop illegitimate email arriving into your mailbox. And maybe just a point on that, there are ways in which you can ramp up the ability for the systems to filter out spam messages. And we've done this in the past for clients, and there's been a modicum of success, and they've been very happy. However, as you ramp up the ability for the systems to filter out spam, you also ramp up the likelihood of the spam filter incorrectly classifying something that's legitimate as spam. So you're caught as an IT provider between two stools. You either increase the filtering so that it filters out all of the spam, but you also then run the risk that something legitimate will be misclassified and someone won't see it. We've all heard stories of people who say, well, I had an opportunity that arrived in my junk mailbox, but I didn't see it for 3 days because I don't normally go and look in there, and we lost an opportunity. That can happen if you ramp up the security for spam. You increase the risk that something will be misclassified. Equally, the converse is true. If you make sure that nothing is ever misclassified as spam, you will also have to accept that there'll be a little bit more spam that comes into your legitimate email. So there's always a balance. The thing about security is that many of the ways in which businesses are breached and many of the ways in which businesses suffer these sorts of security problems is actually not technological. There are not, I'm showing my age here, but there's a famous film with John Travolta called Swordfish from back in the 2000s, which was very much around computer hacking. And you see pictures of people sat in front of 9 individual screens, typing away, trying to physically break into systems. There aren't banks of those sitting around in wherever parts of the world that are trying to get your data. They may be trying to do that for large corporate organizations, but for the vast majority of people, there are not organizations like that trying to break into your systems. The most likely and typical way that your organization would have a data breach is from someone in your organization dealing with an email that's come through which is illegitimate. So one of the ways in which they do that is they send you an email claiming that it relates to a payment. And so you open the attachment and that puts some sort of malware on your computer, which gives them access to your machines. That's one way. Second way is someone is sent an email that purports to have a document shared with them. Log in here in order to see the document. They log in using their legitimate Office 365 passwords, and straight away that account has then become compromised, and so on and so forth. So actually the biggest risk most of the time in an organization is not the technology, it's the person sat in the chair. So education is the best way to deal with the vast majority of security concerns. So while you have staff who are at home, whilst you yourself are at home working outside of that protective barrier and boundary that's normally in place within your office, it's really important to make sure that you don't answer or reply or act upon emails of which you have any uncertainty at all. I have a very simple rule, which is in modern business, even though people email you, if it's something really important and really urgent, they'll probably phone you up a short time after they've sent you the email to make sure that you've received it and make sure that you act upon it. So I take the following view. Unless I'm 99% certain that it's a legitimate email, I will not act upon it at all. So I don't assume that everything is legitimate and guess there might be some unsuitable email embedded in that. I assume that everything is illegitimate and work down on the basis that I need to verify that it's accurate. So don't open and reply to messages that supposedly come from someone until you've absolutely made certain that they're legit. And let's be clear, if someone's sending you a message about accounts functions, money transfers and things of that nature, they're probably going to phone you up to try and get you to act quickly upon that. So there's no need to worry about acting on the email if you have any suspicion at all. So be vigilant when you're working from home. Make sure you don't give away passwords that you've been given. Make sure you don't visit sites which are outside the scope of what you would normally visit, because many sites, the obvious common ones, pornography sites, gambling sites, they can often have little bits of code embedded in some of the imagery or the adverts, which could potentially infect your computer. So be careful, be vigilant. I appreciate these are difficult times, but the one thing you don't want on top of what's happening at the moment is a security breach or problems with your security. So if you've got any more questions you want answered, add some comments below. We'll try and do some videos on that. But hopefully this has been a useful exercise to talk about security and the challenges that we face. Thanks very much.